Holy cow. What
Man.
a great American podcast. Hey, I still haven't heard the episode. I was just kind of saying that to come off of it. But what those guys did with that episode, I'm sure it was wonderful. Thank you, Scott, Kevin, Dustin, and Matt for taking the time
you guys
to
very
do
much.
that. It really, we joke around, and I sometimes I hate that I have to preface things when I'm being genuine, but it really does mean a lot that you guys would take the time out of your schedule to do that full episode for us. Thank you.
And when they got here, they were pumped. I mean, they were all pumped to do it.
You know, I asked you earlier what the vibe was, and you didn't say that before. That
Well,
they were
I mean,
pumped.
they were all pumped. Even Big E was pumped.
It takes a lot to pump him up.
Pump him up.
You know, not only did those guys taking the time out of their schedule to do that last episode mean so much to us, but this whole last season has really meant a lot to us. We had kind of a dream lineup of guests. You know, we had 9 episodes of the 10 that we said, let's double up on guests. These are the people that we want to get, and we got them all. We got them all. Honestly, when we do a show in the past, it was like one guest an episode, or maybe one guest would stay for 2 episodes, or we take an episode or 2 off. Every one of our most frequent and wanted guests came on for the last season.
Right.
We did have to shuck and jive and bend over backwards sometimes to make that schedule work.
And so did they. You know, everybody had to really. I mean, it was cool. It really meant a lot.
We may have mentioned it on the show, but it was kind of recorded. Some of it was recorded out of order. At one time, we had recorded Tim and Brian on an episode, and then after that, we had Kevin and Steph, and we recorded that at Tim's house because Tim is divorced now. Probably thanks to us. I think we had a lot to do.
I'm hoping so.
And
I'm there for the team.
He can't get out of his house. He's got 2 kids. He's a good father. He's a good person. He's doing the right thing. So we went to him to record this and do it out of order. But also, I had just gotten back that day from Tennessee, and for people who don't know, it's like a 7.5 hour drive to where I went, and I came back that whole way to do that show. The whole thing worked out.
Right.
I'm so happy that
the
it did.
stars and moons aligned.
It really did.
Our tarot cards all read something good.
And not only that, it was finely tuned with. I did finely tune the pilots themselves with the guests, which I didn't always do in the past. Every once in a while I did, but every episode I specifically chose the pilot to accompany those guests, and I tried to make a song that would work, not only for the pilot but with the guests. And I tell you what, I think that it is maybe the greatest farewell of the program that we could have imagined. So I do want to thank everyone that make that happen.
Definitely. Without those guests on that final season wouldn't have been so meaningful, I think.
I agree. So when the decision was made to wind down the show, my brain started simmering on a variety of ideas and possibilities, and I think I ended up putting like a semi-Herculean task in front of me with all, trying to assemble all these things and doing a mini marathon, like everything I wanted to do. As soon as you were like, yes, this should be it, my brain started really going into overdrive, and so I think I really put this huge task in front of me because I didn't want the show to end, and I thought like if I couldn't nail the landing, then the end of the show isn't real. But I think we did nail it.
Yeah,
and it is real, and the show is over. Yeah. I made it really tough for me, but we fucking plowed through it. I think
you did it. You did a lot. You lifted. I mean, you lifted a lot of loads this 400 episodes, but this one was because pulling back the curtain. You did ask me like 100 times if there's anything I wanted to do, and it wasn't that I wasn't into it. It was just like. He's got it. He's, you throw your ideas out. I'm like,
this is the first time you've said that to me, though.
Well,
but if
I'm just being.
Without that context, it comes off as I don't give a shit.
Well, and that's not what it was.
Good. I hope not.
No, it wasn't at all. It definitely wasn't. I don't give a shit. It was. I entrusted that you were going to make the right because I was going to overthink everything, and then I was going to overthink everything, and I was going to. Let myself down and probably let us down. So that's
are you happy with the way things have wound
out?
out?
No, it's amazing.
I think it worked out pretty well.
Right.
Episode 400 was coming up for us, a few months ago, and we always tried to do something different and fun for these century marks. We always wanted to do something special for every 100 episode. And I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember what we did for the 100th episode?
The 100th episode, didn't we both pick? Did we both pick? Real shows to do?
No, not at all. That's not at all what we did.
What did we do on 100? I don't remember.
The 100th episode, Actually, okay. Here's the 99. I think we did Saddle Rash, which was a cartoon with Mitch Hedberg,
Okay.
and we had my friend Jeff on. And after that, Jeff was like, "I don't like doing podcasts. I don't know how this." And then we also had Matt on, one of Matt's many appearances. We had him on episode 99 to do Saddle Rash. And I remember one of the funniest things in my mind that's ever happened on this show. At the end of an episode, I always kind of allude to what we're doing next. You remember that?
Yes.
You remember that from 399
Yeah.
times before? And I said, on the next very special 100th episode, we shall watch the pilot episode of The Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
And you were screaming yes. You were screaming, I love this. I'm excited. And the funniest thing that ever happened on the show was Matt said to you, hey, congratulations, man. He was so happy for you. I thought that was so funny. So we did episode 100. It was you and me and Dustin and Scott.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
I remember that now. I got it mixed up. I knew it was the Golden Girls because originally, when we were talking about doing a podcast, what kind of podcast do we want to do? I said to you, I said, "Oh, let's watch every episode of the Golden Girls."
Right.
And you're like, "I fucking hate the Golden Girls," and I was like, "I love the Golden Girls," and you're like, "I hate the Golden Girls."
Well, I don't think I hated it, but I was like, that doesn't sound appealing to me. And there were podcasts already that existed that did that.
Right.
For the 200th episode, do you remember what we did for that?
Was that Hoop Jeans?
Oh my God. Sometimes, like, someone cares more than the other person.
No, it's not that at all. It's a long time ago. So much stuff. So much stuff.
No, you're right. So for the 200th episode, you said what we should do is have a what?
No, go ahead.
Were you going to say something else wrong?
No.
No, okay. So you know what I'm going to say. He said we should have a cookout and pool party. And I said, that'd be nice. And for that, we got everyone together who came over and we watched the pilot episode of Wings.
Wings.
And then we went on to have, like, episode 200, I think, turned into 3 different episodes, all labeled episode 200, part 1, part 2, part 3. We had, like 15 guests.
Yeah.
We kept bringing in wave after wave.
And that was when the basement wasn't redone. Like the basement was still, like, all screwed up from the flood.
I don't remember that detail.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because people were, like, sitting on a couch and there was, like, drywall, like, leaning up against it and stuff. No, yeah, I remember that now.
So that was 200. And then, about 2 years later, naturally, we would do episode 300. And again, we said, let's do something special. And this is only 2 years ago. Blake, do you remember what we did for episode 300?
Me and Matt bowled against each other.
Right. There's the poster right behind you. Couch Pilots, episode 300. It would go down in history. Hoop Jeans 2, 10-pin tango.
10-pin tango.
So you and Matt squared off once again to see who could best each other. And it really is just incredible, next-level genius stuff that I came up with.
It is.
Like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am so fucking smart.
You are.
300th episode of the podcast. 300 is the best score you can get on bowling. And you and Matt had already, like, squared off with basketball the year before. Like, this is like the stars aligned. And I just said, boink, I'll take that.
I'll take that.
So that was a great episode.
Yeah.
It was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. The audio was nothing short of human shit. And then, but 35 people showed up for that. It was crazy.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, for sure.
A lot of friends and family showed up for that.
We anytime we did something big, friends and family showed up.
They really did.
Yeah.
For episode 400, which is where we are now, I said I come up with an idea for a podcasting marathon, but they'd all be the quote unquote final episodes of each of the podcasts that were participating, as they were podcasts that our friends had done. And a lot of times shows just kind of drift off or fade away, but let's have final episodes. And we may have covered this a few episodes back, but the bears repeating. Let's have final episodes of all these different shows. And it may, it may not be the definitive episode. Those guys could go on and do more if they wanted.
They didn't sign the contracts we wanted them to.
But if they wanted to be the last one, let's treat it like the last one. And you mentioned that Couch Pilots should be a part of that marathon as well. And while I was always going to have Couch Pilots be a part of that marathon, you said it should be the final one. And I was not ready for that, and I didn't fight you on it at all, did I?
No, you didn't.
And I wasn't mad. I was and remain sad, though.
Yeah.
I'm sad. Anyway, something we've worked on together for 8 years, and like the standing appointment to meet with your friend was coming to an end, and we've danced around it all this past season. But I'm going to push you for an answer now. How did you come to that decision to end the show? I mean, if we could, I'm not trying to put negative pressure on you. I just kind of, I want to hear from the horse's mouth, the person who instigated the end, how you came to that decision.
Well, I when we started talking about the 400th episode, and we had always joked. I think we joked from 300 to 400 about how ending the show it was a joke, and I think that when it came up as we should do the final episodes for all these other shows because they never had one, I just was like, it was to me it was a sign. It was just like, oh, this is exactly the perfect time to do it, and I think we have said everything. We've seen every kind of pilot there is. We've watched. We never thought it was going to last 8 years in the first place. We didn't think we didn't know how many links we were going to be able to get at first.
Right.
And it just felt like there was nothing more that we could say about it. They all just kind of started bleeding together. And I was like, oh, remember this one? And I'm like, well, I mean, yes and no, but I just felt like I don't know. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I just felt like
what do you said that I think before. There's a lot of stuff going on, which means almost nothing.
Sure.
Like when you say there's a lot of stuff going, do you mean like personally and professionally for you, or what does that even fucking mean?
I would say personally.
Okay.
A lot of stuff going on.
Gotcha.
And I feel like there wasn't anything more creative to say or do. And I think that ultimately I didn't think there was anything more creative to say or do in it.
Okay. That's fair. I think there are other people that I could have tapped to have taken your place. No. I'm saying I think there's ways the show could have gone on, but I don't want that.
Yeah.
One time you said I need to take a break from the show, and I took you at your word that you wanted a break and you would come back to it, and you did. And in that absence, I think Adam Z had hijacked the plane one time, and then I did 6 episodes with our friend Kevin Clark. But you said you would come back. You just needed a break. But I wouldn't keep doing the show without you. There are different things, different ways to keep the show going in some fashion in my mind. Continue on somehow with the Couch Pilots files, or do something adjacent to or a spinoff of. I don't think I want to do it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way either.
Yeah, it's you and I that we create together. We did it together, and you took a break for a couple episodes, but you came back. But when you say it's you want it to be done and it's done, I don't. It doesn't exist without you and I doing it together.
Right.
So if I want to respect you and your decision to end it, even though it does make me sad, and
it does make me sad too. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it does make me sad too.
Mm-hmm. And you always say it's how many more pilots can we watch? How much more creative, whatever. It was never about the pilots.
I know.
It was about you and I, and it was about our friends and the people that we were able to trick into coming over here to spend time with us. And
and ultimately, for me, podcasting, it became that when, about halfway through IBWIP, when you started being on, it didn't. And anymore, it didn't have to do with numbers, obviously, anymore. And it didn't matter who was listening. It is all about spending time with I wouldn't be hanging out with these people, and if it wouldn't have been for that, I wouldn't have met half of them. You know what I mean?
I have a lot more to say about that in a few minutes. I do also want to address, as far as the creativity of the show, I think neither of us are super precious about the content. We could take it any direction that we wanted to, and it would be fine. The show has changed a lot in 8 years. It's evolved naturally or unnaturally. But it always has changed in a way that was kind of in lockstep with where we were professionally and personally. Sure. But in that way, creatively, it has altered as well. So I think that could continue to go if you wanted to keep doing the show. But I do understand your desire to want to put a bow on something or move on to something else. I do want to respect that. But I did want to kind of give you a forum to say your piece about why the show is ending, because there are some people out there who listen every week. And if a show that you listen to every week and if grown fond of, you kind of want to know why is it stopping? And we are doing a service, I think, by saying this is the end and not just not posting someday,
right?
And then no one ever hears from us,
right?
So there is something about that, I would say.
Yeah. I'm not trying to upset anybody.
No, I don't think so either.
Have minimal sanity left.
Let's circle the drain here, though, real quick. We're truly about done. A lot of fun and bullshit up front. I do kind of want to venture into the sentimental and start to say goodbye to the things and the people that really matter.
Sure.
Do you want me to go ahead and start, or do you want to do it?
You can go first, and I'll follow your lead.
Life is only about people. That's it. The relationships you have, the loves. Life is about people. I want to think about this show in terms of groups of people. And the first group I want to think is anyone that said, yes, Jason, you can interview me. That is insane to me. Thank you. Every single person that responded to me on Twitter, whether it was just a quick response, whether it was a DM, whether it was a long email, which we love, any of those responses we love, or how about the people that said, hey, I got some stories, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. That is insane. I never got into podcasting to think, what would be cool to do is interview a bunch of guys.
Right.
That was never part of the plan. It became part of the plan. And when it did, I tried to take everything that I learned from you with the interviews you had done and all the podcasts that I had listened to in the past and try to say, how did they go about it? How can I not be an asshole like I am to Blake on the show, but be a genuine version of myself and do research to prepare for these interviews and be honest and genuine and try to be engaging with these people who are saying, I know that I'm not getting paid for this. I know that there's very little listenership, but this is a story I would like to tell.
Right. It was definitely very quickly when it seemed like, we didn't even ever think about interviewing anybody.
No,
and then it was like a door opened one day, and then it just became a consistent flow of, gets. You were, I
think part of it was me figuring out how to navigate certain conversations and etiquette within Twitter, which just recently changed to X, which will put a timestamp on this podcast. But yeah, that was never part of the plan to say, let's try to get as many interviews as possible.
For sure.
I think it's something that we fell into naturally. We tried our best to prepare and be a good interviewer. And then ultimately, I think it added greatly to the program.
Oh, for sure. And you quickly found your legs in interviews. You know what I mean? And I like I said, I've done 100 interviews, and a lot of them I wish I would have done better. And but you really hit the points. You were always very, very. You didn't blow smoke up these people's asses, but you weren't rude in any way. I mean, you were genuine in what you were asking, and that's I think it doesn't matter how good you are talking or whatever, but you asked genuine questions. You know what I mean? And every one of your interviews was awesome. I don't think there was a bad one at all.
Well, thank you. I would never put interviewer as part of my resume. I would never say that I'm a good interviewer. I have no real truck for how I did in those, but thank you for your kind words. I really did try to do a good job, but I never would go back and listen to them. I was so self-conscious about how those may have come off that I don't go back and listen to the interviews.
I wish I would. Early on, I wish I would have not done that, when I listened to mine, because then I started getting in my head, and, there was big ones. I mean, I had some, and to me they were big.
Who's a couple of those? You're talking about the song Inside and Out and IBWIP, the roots country music shows that you did.
Well, I think my third interview I ever did was with Scott H. Byerman. To me, I was like, he was the real deal. You know what I mean? And then Wayne the Train Hancock, who was a legend in country swing music, and I remember the first recorded video interview I did was with Adam Lee at the Jack's Doghouse here in Pekin, and it's on YouTube. I won't go back and watch it. You know what I mean? But it was, and every one of those But but the one that to me was like Graham Lindsay was an artist that was from out west, and I loved his music. I had a lot of respect for him as a songwriter, and I knew I was like never going to see this guy play live. You know what I mean? Or to have to go somewhere far away to do that.
A legend in like independent roots music who probably doesn't come out to the Midwest much.
I wouldn't even necessarily say a legend, but I mean, I had a lot of respect for him, and but it just so happened he got a hold of me one time, and he's like,
he got a hold of you.
Well, I had by this time I was friends with people and stuff, but I could have did a phone interview with him, easy. I mean, he lived out in the mountains or whatever, but he's like, I'm going from here to here. Pekin's right in the middle, and I got to have my gas money to go to the next one. So I got lined up with Chad Ing.
Chad Ing, who used to run
the High Note.
The High Note, yeah. It was the upstairs bar that we did episode 200 of at Burns One IP at.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, of course, Chad was awesome. He lined it up. And, we got there, and I was so excited to see him play live. And then I was going to do this interview, too. And, like, 4 people, like, showed up for that show. And it was still the most, like, I felt bad because I felt like I was, like, his booker, and I didn't do a good job to get him enough gas money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so here I am just listening to, like, one of my musical idols play music for basically me. You know what I mean? There was, like, 4 of us. I mean, he was playing for us, But then doing that interview, and that one's video recorded, too, and I always just wanted everything to be exactly perfect. That's always been my problem with this, and you've curbed me of that to keep me from, but for a long time it just had to be perfect. And, I would never go back and watch the interview again because I know it wasn't good because I was so fanboyed out that all the preparation I did, I was sitting at a bar interviewing one, and I just fanboyed out, and I just, and he was a great guy, but don't go back and listen to him. You just accept the fact that you did them, and did your best, and that's all you can do.
There's like 3 interviews that I did where it's like, I can't believe I'm talking to this person. I know this person's work, and I love it.
Right.
And it's tough not to fanboy out.
Sure.
And I think I did a little bit on one, but it's tough, and you hope that you're. At the end of it, you're like, my God, I hope they don't regret spending, a half hour, an hour talking to me.
Right.
And sometimes you get a legend on the phone. Some of the people I do want to call out real quick. Ruben Leader, we had him. That's one we did here in studio. And that guy, we talked to him for like an hour, and he was telling us about his parents being the Holocaust and a book that he had written. Like, what an engaging interview that was. I want to thank Kelly Carlin, whose dad is fucking George Carlin.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually have no business talking to that lady. She's got a killer Twitter following, X following, whatever. And she was awesome to talk to. She was so nice, and just I think a lot of times you hit people on these weird projects they did, and it's like, no one in my life has ever asked me about this.
Right.
And yes, you know what? I do remember it, and I had a good time, or I have an interesting story, and no one's ever asked me. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, because
that's where we come in.
Yeah, they're used to the same old questions.
Yeah.
All the press tours they have to do when a project comes out, and most of these projects they didn't have that opportunity, so they didn't get bored with the questions. And most of the stuff that I think, what I realized is most of these pilots, these people that were in them, really cared about them. You know what I mean? Yeah,
a lot of times, the writers or the directors, they'll have the most skin in the game. Every once in a while, it is an actor who maybe never went on to do huge things, but this could have been their big break. And this person will be like, yeah, I'll talk to you. I want to thank a recent interview that I did, Jerry Minor. He's this black comic actor who is so funny. Anytime he pops up in something, I'm so glad to see him. I watch a lot of Tosh.0. Mm-hmm. He's on an episode of that. One of my favorite sitcoms of all time, Community. He was on a few episodes of that. I got to talk to him for like an hour, and he was like the nicest guy ever.
Right.
I want to thank Vic Berger. He performs regularly with Tim Heidecker, and I'm going to go see him live Probably I'll have already seen it by the time this show is released. But I'm hoping to talk to him for a moment. Say, hey, I don't know if you remember me.
Oh, that's cool.
He was so cool to talk to. He does great internet videos. Works with Tim Heidecker and Doug Lusenhop on a regular basis. I want to thank, and truly maybe a highlight, like when they throw me in the ground eventually, truly one of the highlights of my life, talking to Harry Shearer of Spinal Tap and 30-plus years as one of the main voices on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I have no business talking to someone like him. It's insane that he said, yes, I will talk to you, and talked to me for an hour and was unbearably genuous.
Yeah.
Or genuine and generous, I
Sure.
should say. Like, how incredible was that? So, like, anyone who ever said yes, and I'm sorry if I didn't name everyone by name, because I what do you say? We did probably 30, 40 interviews?
Yeah, he got...
Thank you. Thank you to those people.
For sure.
Thank you for saying
that was
yes.
awesome.
Those interviews were a path that I never imagined going down, but I'm glad I did. I was always nervous going into them, but it's one of those good nervouses
Sure.
where it's like, face this thing, get past being scared of this, and dig in.
Yeah, and you can say that you've done it. Like, you can say that you've interviewed, those people, and it's just,
So that has meant the world to me. That almost made all of this worthwhile for me, is saying I got to, these people of note said yes to Joe Nobody.
Right.
Thank you.
You're Jason Nobody.
I do also want to thank, the next group of people I want to thank are the listeners of the show. And not only just people who would, casually tune in, but the people who engaged
Right.
over the years with the program. There's a lot of people. I want to thank, I don't know, I think this name, you'll recognize this name, Tyler Abercrombie.
Yeah.
He's a guy from the South. He used to listen to the show. I don't know if he listens anymore. But at one point, he had sent in a song that he had written just for us. And at one time, he was really engaged with the program. Tyler, if you're listening, thank you.
Yes.
I never in my life got into podcasting to become famous or to be rich or to have a legion of fans, which I still don't, by the way. I got in because I thought, I like podcasts. I listen to podcasts. It's accessible to me, and I can see it as a creative outlet.
Yep.
And it was that for a while. And obviously it turned into something much more. But knowing that people hear what you say and enjoy it and come back again and again, it does mean something that I didn't think that it would. So people like Tyler Abercrombie, thank you for tuning in the show. I want to thank people like David Lytle, someone who has really been an unbelievable champion of the podcast in the past few years.
For sure.
To this day, probably my favorite episode was Rough Magic with David Lytle. That show was just mayhem. It was so funny because we had Matt and Kevin, who were going to host an episode later that day, sitting in studio but not on mic. And I remember starting and then stopping and restarting the show, but keeping it all in. And David was confused out of his... David's like, what the fuck did I sign up for? But in that, we created a listener for life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was when we were talking about the butt cancer.
Absolutely it was.
Yeah,
and then,
we bonded quickly.
David would go on to move out of the area, but still listen to the show, still keep in contact with us. He's pursuing broadcasting with his education, and he's got some fun, creative outlets of his own, which I've been honored to have been shown or been a part of. He's shown me some of the artwork that he's done. And David's just such a cool guy.
Yes, he's awesome.
I'm
dude.
really proud to call him a friend and a genuine lover and listener of the program.
Right. And then it's one of those things that's the kind of the situation. Like, if you weren't doing this, would you have crossed paths? Or if you would have crossed paths, would it have linked up to be such a friendship?
Yeah.
So.
Another guy I want to mention too. There's a few more, but David Bobke. This is a fella. I think he lives in the Milwaukee area. And
I'm going to be up there.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
August 18th.
What's that?
I'll be up there August 18th.
That's already passed, but what is it?
Company trip.
I just been to Milwaukee.
One of the zoo.
I went to Milwaukee for the first time recently.
Really?
Yeah, I went to see the band Odessa with Matt and Dustin. Spent a weekend up there. It was nice. David Bobke, I believe, found myself as part of another podcast, the Ernest's podcast that I do, The Importance of Seeing Ernest and the Ernest P. World Preservation Society. I do that I used to do it. They're both done now. They're both done. You know what's really odd is that the last episode of the Ernest P. Worrell Preservation Society will come out on one Monday, and the following Monday, this episode of Couch Pilots.
Really?
Within 2 weeks, a big chunk of my social and creative life will have committed a Harry Carey.
We're all
What's that?
we're all gonna make sure we need to call you, like take turns calling you each day.
Thank you. I would appreciate it. If someone could bring me over a nice casserole, that'd be great. But David Bobke, it kind of said, "Oh, he's listening to the guy's voice. I can tolerate. I'll check out his other show." And in that, he became a listener and ultimately sent us one season full of failed pilots, which we had dubbed the Bobke Bunch.
The
Bobke Bunch. So he's of course a listener, and he went ahead and he sent us a letter. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read his letter right now on the show.
Oh, sure.
It says, "Dearest Jason and Blake, I love you." Starts out with "I love you," which I think is for you because you know that he knows.
He knows I need it.
Thank you both for 40 years of great shows about a subject I love. Short-lived television shows. And you know, it's not even short-lived. It's the shortest of lived. It's one episode.
Shortest straw.
Has been drawn for you. Hey, I hope to continue hearing from you in some podcast or another. Please accept my token of appreciation for you, for your years of work. You should find them enclosed. Be careful with them. They haven't been invented yet. And he sent me a bunch of Band-Aids.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Very best regards to you both. And thanks again, David Bobke.
Thank you, David.
There truly is, and people have said it for a long time, ever since the advent of the email, there is something special about a handwritten note.
Oh, hell yeah.
And David, we will not discard this. This will be added to the Couch Pilots lore of listener engagement. Thank you, David Bobke. I do want to thank other people as well, other listeners of the program. I got to go Dee Dee from Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I love Dee Dee, and I know the engagement Dee Dee's had, but you know more about it. Can you speak to Dee Dee and what she's meant to the program over the years?
Yeah. Dee Dee was a listener from Australia. She found our show because she listened to this other Australian show that did pilots, I think, is how she found us.
Was it The Consumption?
The Consumption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Consumption. And I think The Consumption was like a network and it had a different name or something. But yeah, there was another group of people that were talking failed pilots. I will say that we've done way more than they have.
We blew them out of the water. And, you know, she would contact the show. And then we started contacting each other. She sent me...
Off the show, personally.
Oh, yeah, personally.
Yeah.
We got to the point where every Christmas Day we would FaceTime each other and drink a beer. That usually meant that she was drinking a beer at like way earlier in the morning than she needed.
She was doing a service to you.
Yeah. And you know, she sent me one of the most amazing gifts ever. After Rory passed away, she had taken a picture that I had posted of me and Rory on the interwebs, and she had it like framed, blown up and framed, and I had no idea when I opened that box what I would find. You know what I mean?
Unbelievably thoughtful and sweet. Thank you, Dee Dee.
Yeah, that's I don't know. You can't put into words like this doesn't happen if it wasn't for this podcast. You know what I mean?
By every possible account, someone you will never meet physically in person cared enough to do something like that from you across the globe.
Right. And we stayed in touch quite a bit, and we would have, I mean, there would be times that we would FaceTime each other and stuff, and she was an amazing person. Her partner Barb was an amazing too, and it just, you know, it was a very personal relationship, you know, very meaningful.
You felt like real friends.
Sure.
People had never met but had bonded over this podcast and subsequent.
And she was very
years.
supportive too. I mean, she, you know, there would be times I'd be like, well, and she's like, no, it's good. You know what I mean? Because, you know, sometimes in your own head you start to, you know,
Say, why do I hang out with Jason?
No.
Dee Dee had sent us Moldoramas.
Moldoramas.
I think they came from maybe Chicago.
Yeah,
I thought they had one in Australia that she had sent from here, but she had contacted
the company.
Someplace, yes,
Yeah, the company
in America, and she had it sent to us. She sent us 4 Moldoramas. They're still displayed in my bedroom.
I still have them up here. Yep.
And then she also had sent me, I believe, bottle caps at one point, which I definitely I have them in their own special area labeled that they're from Dee Dee.
Right.
How incredible is that? What engagement is that?
It was an amazing friendship.
I want to thank Lori Garcia, a great lady out of Sacramento, California, and she was very engaged with the program for a while. We would call her on occasion, and just what a trip!
Yeah.
You know, she
was creative, a very creative person, very unique too.
Yeah, she was so sweet. She would leave us voicemails and talk to us on the phone, and she listened every week for a while. I don't think she listens much anymore, but like Lori was such a great part of the show early on in its inception. And then those people are fantastic, but then I think there's a chasm. There's a chasm between those people and Chris Tuckley. Chris Tuckley sits alone at the throne of Couch Pilots in terms of listener engagement and the things that he's done for this show.
He is on the top of the Hall of Fame of all Couch Pilots Hall of Fame for sure.
He sends us Christmas cards
every year.
He sends us Christmas presents in terms of it's his creative output to us that we regurgitate on this show. And there's been a handful of times where I have just lost my fucking mind laughing. He is much more intelligent and creative than we are. And I know in an odd way, a friend of the show, Matt, has a bizarre man crush on him as well. He should.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I cannot express how important and how honest and genuine his love for the show and engagement has been, and how much that it means to me. What an absolute unexpected surprise. You know?
And I don't even remember how he found the show, but he found the show.
I think I do remember.
Probably about halfway through.
I think for a while, we've alluded to the FCF network at one point or another, and I believe at one time we had had a podcast called the B Movie Breakdown, and I believe it's through that and one of the commercials for Couch Pilots that he had heard on that show, which brought it over here. So if anything good ever came out of the FCF network, it was that Chris found Couch Pilots.
Right.
I believe that's wrong. Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. I do want to throw it now to an audio recording that Chris Tuckley had sent us. He knew the final episode was coming. He sent us an audio file a few weeks ago. Neither you or I have heard it yet.
We've had a hold of it, and I did not listen to it yet.
I anticipate it being emotionally devastating. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's hear what Chris Tuckley has to say.
Hello, Blake and Jason. It's me, your old pal Chris. I couldn't let the final episode of Couch Pilots slip by without marking it in some way. So I've decided I'm going to fulfill my ambition of joining you live on the show as one of your guests. It's true. I'm now cruising at 31,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean on my way to the FCF airport. I'm still looking for it on this map, but I figured that if I aim for Chicago and turn left, I'll be on the right track. God, it's going to be magnificent to meet you in the flesh at long last. I actually hijacked this World War II Spitfire from the local air museum. That's how much I want to appear live on Couch Pilots before it ends. I've even loaded it up with VHS tapes of UK TV pilots I've been saving for you. Look guys, even if there's no podcast to record, maybe we can all sit around in our underpants on Blake's sofa, drinking bitter beer and watching them. I'm not going to lie, it's been a wild ride over the last 6 years, but I've learned so much from you. Reddit, Bobby Socks, Docking, I owe it all to you guys. I think I speak for all of the Couch Pilots fans out there when I say that we've experienced personal growth through listening. Whoa! That was a bit of turbulence. Checking my dials. What's that smell of smoke? I'm not sure this old crate is going to make it after all. I think I might have overloaded it with pilots. Well, I guess this might be the end, Blake and Jason. If I don't make it, please, never let it be said that there was a truer Couch Pilots fan. At least there'll always be some corner of a peak in podcast that shall be forever England. Farewell, my beloved Sky Cops. You'll never know what your podcast meant to us all. Tell Molly I love her. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again.
So he's dead.
He gone.
I don't know that there was ever at one point Chris had contacted the show and he set a precedent. He's never disappointed us.
No.
First of all, rest in peace. If of course his charred remains lie somewhere over the mid-Atlantic. But my God, never disappoints, never lets us down. I hope that he's doing something creative that we don't know about it, and I would love to know about it because whatever he's doing, the quality has to be far superior than what we're up to.
For sure.
What a great
That's funny.
British man. Chris, we love you.
Yeah.
Thank you
he
so
even,
much.
took a train to a town in the UK that was
Called Clayton.
and took
Yeah.
pictures of him with everything that had Clayton on it.
Yeah, that is tremendous. Chris, our undying love and respect and admiration for you.
But
Thank you.
another story about Chris is when he did find us, we were about halfway through, or maybe 150
You
episodes.
love talking about this.
This guy, no, because it is.
Yeah, you bring it up all the time, yeah.
Because he has put time and effort that I think we deserve to acknowledge. He went back from the start of Couch Pilots, listened to every episode till he caught up with us.
The complete evolution or de-evolution, whatever. All right, so that's those are the people who have been engaged and listeners of the show. Thank you. And on a personal note, Chris, say the word. Let's get together. I would love to press the flesh. I would
Sure.
love to meet you in person.
One time he was in Philadelphia.
We tried to make it happen. I don't think he was interested.
No, I think he was. I think he would have.
We love you, and it's honestly, I might be able to get British citizenship because my grandmother's British. So
Nice.
maybe I go over there, spend the rest of my life over there. All right. We talked about the interviews. We talked about listeners. I want to move on to our guests. We've had a lot of guests on the show over the years. Sometimes they've been on one episode. Sometimes we trick them into coming back again and again and again. Anyone who's ever said yes to us to come do this silly, stupid thing, it is so important to me. The show has become oddly important to me over the years. But the fact that the people that I like and enjoy being around and talking to say yes to doing this, I don't understand it, but I'm grateful. It does not fall on deaf ears. I appreciate it. And I'm absolutely grateful. I think when all was said and done, I think we had about 30 people that we would cycle through.
Yeah.
That's insane to
It is
me.
insane.
That's insane that 30 people in our lives, they would say, yes, I will come on your show once or twice a year. And we always had fresh people to work with. That's insane to me, right?
Right. Well, it's Janice is a perfect example. Met her at a bar, didn't know who she was. I was like, oh, I love a podcast. Next week, a week or two, she was on.
Yeah.
She went to a complete stranger's house.
She went to a complete stranger. And Janice, I think, is at a point in her life where, like, you just say yes.
Yeah.
And you see where the adventure takes you. I was actually, at the time of recording, I was with her last night and a few other people. We went and played trivia.
Yeah.
Janice is kind of, oddly enough, a new friend in my orbit. She's great. And I really enjoyed having her on the show. And anyone who ever said yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for being, this whole season was chock full of people that we love and that said yes to us over and over again. But it didn't end there. There's so many other people that we could have included in that would just come back time and time again. And it was so much fun to talk to these folks.
It was always cool.
Yeah. You put a mic in front of someone's face and who knows what's going to come out of their mouth.
But that was also part of the fun is people who had never done it before, and that when they first sat down, they were so scared. But by the end of the hour and a half, they were like, "That was awesome,"
Yeah,
and that was cool.
Lucas, who'd been on the show a number of times, a good friend of his and someone that I knew and is a friend of mine too, named Sammy, who now lives in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I said, next time you're in town, let's make this happen, and he did. I think he was on twice, And Sammy, the first time, he was really nervous. And I think at the end of that first episode, he's like, "Oh, that's not at all what I thought it would be. I had a lot of fun. Thank you." And he came back and did it again.
Yeah.
And then another person that comes to mind is a friend of mine from high school who years and years I didn't talk to the person. Her name was Erica.
Oh,
she came on with her husband. And her husband's like, I don't know what this is or what to. And at the end of it, he was like telling crazy stories and having just a great time.
Right. Well, and she was the one that made a donation to Couch Pilots in her husband's name for his birthday or
His
something.
40th birthday.
And he had no idea what the
He's
hell.
like, I made a donation to this. And he's like, I don't know anything about that.
Right.
So anyone, friends, family, the occasional stranger with like Erica's husband or like Marty Wambacher,
Yeah.
anyone who ever said yes to being on the show, what a delight. And I hope when you look back in your life, you do not regret it and you had a good time because
Right.
that's what we wanted.
That's what we wanted.
We wanted to spend time with fun and interesting people and people that we cared about. And in that, we were largely successful.
Tenfold.
Before we really get down to the very end, I do want to kind of one last time break down how this show started. And I feel like I've been dominating the mic, and I apologize.
No.
But a lot of times when we discuss our origins, I let you take the reins. So I'm going to wax nostalgic a little bit, and feel free to pipe in.
Sure.
I got hired on to Caterpillar in 2010, and I started working with a group, and I was kind of way out of my element. I'd never worked in an environment like this before, and you worked on a team adjacent to me, and I went over to your group and I talked to you specifically about something I needed to do, and I saw in your cubicle a bunch of different stuff you had posted. I said, "What is this?" He says, "Oh, it's for a thing I do. It's a podcast." And I said, "I know podcasts. This is in podcasts, kind of their infancy."
Sure.
You'd been doing at that point IBWIP for probably 3 years, and I was like, "Oh, I know about podcasts. I listen to a handful." And you and I had kind of forged an uneasy alliance, but we had started trading. Like, "Oh, this is what I listen to. You should check this out." And I said, "Oh, this is here's some DVDs you should check out.
Right.
Here's this." I would listen to your show. You invited me to the 100th episode party that you had at your old townhouse. I went to that. I was on that episode 100 for 5 seconds. Maybe a month or two later, he said, "Hey, I'm recording an episode. Would you like to come by and do this?" And from there, the wheels were just off.
Hell yeah.
I was on episode 105 of IBWIP. I believe it was called Ipecac of Bacon. We drank bacon soda, and it physically made me ill for 3 days afterwards. But I wouldn't take it back for anything because it was fun. And from there, you just kept inviting me back, and I kept saying yes. And at some point, we said, let's weaponize this thing.
Sure.
And record 2 at a time, and we'll do a release every week. I think at that time, you were releasing like a 3-hour episode once a month.
Right.
And we decided, let's find a way to propel this forward. And we got a cycle of hosts coming in with Scott and Dustin. We had Heather with us for a year. At one point, we were talking about a network, and we were kind of like, I don't know. But then at some point, he said, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a network." And we did. And Dustin did Drunken Lullabies, and Heather did Sex with Heather. And then you said, "Hey, you and I are going to do a show." And I said, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Oh, well, I thought we would just do IBWP. I'll do a show with you."
Right.
He said, "Let's do a Golden Girl show." I said, You came up with the idea for Couch Pilots. You may have even come up with the name. I don't recall. But you came up with the idea to do this program. And when you said that to me, I took it seriously, and I ran with it as far as trying to create a structure of the
Sure.
program. And I did. I created a structure. Everything that Molly said with the interstitials, I created those things. I really formed what Couch Pilots would look like. But it was your idea, and I think it was I think you named it as well.
Look at me.
And then from there, it was just, will this last? Can we find these things? I took it seriously. I really did. To this day, I have probably 60 some odd links to unmade or like pilots that, television shows that failed that we'll never get to because we're ending the show. But like, I really took it seriously, and I really tried to form at what I thought this program could be. And of course, I always say to people who are starting a podcast, you can plan all you want, and that's good. It is good to do that. It's good to have a structure, but just know it will evolve naturally into what it's supposed to be. And I know that you pined for earlier days of the podcast and we would do different things, but I strongly think that this show has evolved to what it was supposed to be.
It went where it was supposed to go, for sure. You know what I mean? It evolved. And just like, I think, for me as a podcaster altogether, everything that I've done has evolved. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but I can go and listen to my whole life for the past 16 years in some aspect or another. I wasn't very good at keeping the two separate, but that's just the way I did it from the start. So,
yeah, I the first episode I mentioned was episode 100 of IBWIP, and that was, I believe, of May of 2013. So for me, it's been over 10 years that I've been podcasting, and you started in 07.
Right.
So you've been doing it for a few years longer than me, for sure, and that kind of brings us up to speed on how the show was created and where we came from. But as I'm saying the thank yous to everyone and the goodbyes to everyone, there is one person that I need to say thank you to the most, and of course that's God. No, nothing. We just had a big marathon of all these shows. None of that exists without you. I hope you know that. No one in this world is harder on Blake Clayton than Blake Clayton. I wish you'd ease up on the guy. I've got good friends from high school that I see fairly frequently, and that's my social circle. Meeting you and everyone as a part of that has doubled my social circle. You have changed my life. You've changed a lot of people's lives, Blake.
Please. I just wish sometimes I could see that. I know it's there, but it's not like nobody. It's not like, I don't know. I just.
We have Drunken Lullabies, Craft Beer Digest, Disney, like all the things that Dustin has done. That's because of you. It really is. You can think whatever you want, but nothing propelled him forward till being on IBWIP and being part of a network. Karaoke Big E didn't exist without you. None of this exists without you. I really hope that you take a look back sometime and see that. And see, wow. You don't have to like boast or walk around with your dick out or anything. But this is because of you. You've changed my life and a lot of people's lives around you for the better. You are a force of good in the world, and I hope that you see that.
Thank you.
So thank you for being an unbelievably reliable partner over the years. And I love you, and thank you so much.
I love you too. That's the longest relationship I've ever been in. Good Lord. Thank you, though. That's very nice of you. It wasn't all just me. I was just a hub, and I surrounded myself with creative people and talented people. So maybe I'm the smartest motherfucker in the world.
There is value in that, and seriously, it's like like Lauren Michaels, 50 years on SNL, and all the talent that's come across that. He is the core of that. He assembled those people. You assembled those people.
I'm like the X-Men guy.
You're like the X-Men. This is the end of the show. Of course, like every episode of Couch Pilots, we do have a final bit that we delegate to Blake at the end. Sometimes he's prepared. Sometimes he has no idea what he's doing. Blake, is there anything you'd like to say here at the very, very, very end of Couch Pilots?
Yeah, I will. I will. I do. I wrote it out, so if it sounds like I'm reading, I am. I don't read very good. A lot of it just reiterates what Jason has said, but as Jason and I head straight toward the big ball of flames in the sky. We're heading straight for it. I wanted to take a few moments to reflect on the past 8 years. First, I want to say thank you to all the people who have listened to the show over the years. I know that there are a million podcasts out there, and I'm honored and humbled, and I think Jason as well, that you would take the time to listen to us for 5 minutes or for 2 hours. I hope that you have enjoyed what we have done and had half as much fun listening as we had fun making it. Second, I wanted to thank the fans from across the globe, Dee Dee and Chris, Tyler, David, all the people. I would have never imagined that I would form friendships with people from other countries just because me and a friend were doing a podcast about bad TV. From all the amazing gifts that Dee Dee has sent over the years, to the drinking beers on Christmas Day, to Chris barreling through our back catalog to catch up with us in real time and sending so many amazing cards, songs, and ultimately, dying in a plane crash. that was ad-libbed. Your friendships have truly made putting up with Jason for all this time worth it. I am forever in your debt for your time and efforts, and I love you guys. To all the people that have guested on the show, thank you so much. We have had so many amazing people take the time to watch horrible television shows and then drive over here to spend 2 hours with us talking about it. As much as I gave Jason shit a lot about booking guests, it really truly was a great part of doing the show. I want to give a special thank you to my podcasting crew and best friends. Guys that I probably wouldn't have known or spent time with if it hadn't been for podcasting. From the bottom of my heart, I truly am blessed to have you in my life, not only as fellow podcasters, but also dear friends. And if I have to name you all, then you're not that good a fucking friend. You know who you are. I also want to give a thank you to my wife from the days of having a podcast studio put up in the middle of your kitchen and having folks being loud till late at night during a weekday to having folks come to your house and walk in and head down the stairs without knocking and being loud till late at night on the weekends. Thank you for being supportive and tolerable. I love you very much, and I'm grateful to have someone in my life that allows me to have such a hobby. And finally, Jason, there's so much that I want to thank you for that I would probably need a whole episode to list everything. You truly have done 90% of the work to make this podcast happen. All the research, the Twitter, which is now X, interviews, scheduling guests, and driving here to record every week. You've driven here probably over 200 times. I owe you for making this podcast what it has been for all of this time. I've said it many times, but I can't say it enough that you truly are a talented, in my opinion, comedic genius. You have amazing timing and are so quick-witted. Couch Pilots was funny because of you and you alone. I am sure I am speaking for listeners as well as myself when I say that thank you very much. It wouldn't be 400 episodes if it hadn't been for you. You made sure that we didn't miss one single week. There's not many podcasts out there of those millions of podcasts that can say that for 400 consecutive weeks there was an episode with no best ofs or repeats. You are my best friend. You've done so much for me and my family over the years. I wouldn't be here today, in part because of you. Thank you for your talent. Thank you for your dedication. But ultimately, thank you for your friendship. I love you.
Thanks, buddy. I love you too. That's very nice. Thank you. I do have a certain amount of pride in the fact that we haven't missed a week in 400 weeks. It's insane. What started off as a fun project has meant so much to me, and to see it go is very sad to me. But I'm so happy that I got to do it with you.
I agree.
Hey, this podcast may have been rough, man, but I had a hell of a time here on Couch Pilots. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Love you guys.
Hello.
Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Hey, Denise. This is Jason Tosher. Lucas had come on the podcast that I do with my friend Blake, and we're recording our last one. And I just wanted to call you and just let you know how important Lucas was to the show.
Oh, thank you. It's it's kind of getting that point where I wondered if people remember him. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, he talks about you all the time, and yeah, I look at his memories every single day. The Lukeism things that stick out.
Well, I'm glad you do that.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet. Have a good night.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Hey there.
Erica, this is Jason. What are you doing?
I am at O'Hare Airport, and Andrea is picking me up, and we're going to Six Flags tomorrow.
In Gurney?
Hell yeah.
And then we're going bowling.
Then they're going bowling without me. You sack of shit.
with Blake. Obviously, Blake knew about this.
Blake, you're going to Six Flags?
Yes.
Yes, Blake is going to Six
Woo,
Flags.
woo! Ah.
Blake, Jim's here. You want to say hi?
Yes.
Yeah, that's I had a Jim.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Are you want Erica back?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hey.
We're recording the last episode of Couch Pilots.
What is happening? Why is it ending? I'm so upset.
I don't know. So, but 400's a good number, I guess, to end on. I don't know.
I think it's a bad number. I think it needs to continue. Oh, here's Andrea. Uh-oh. Do you want to come meet us tomorrow? I got an extra ticket.
I'll be up there. That's fine.
Andrea, it's the final episode of Couch Pilots. What? How's it going?
Andrew, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. Wait, like final forever? But if you came to Six Flags with us, I would lose my mind. That would be amazing.
I'm gonna text Erica later tonight.
Definitely. Thank you for including me. Yeah, thanks, Jason. Kids,
right.
say bye to Jason. Jason, bye. Jason,
They think you're a different Jason.
okay.
All right. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Jason.
Bye.
Bye, Blake.
Bye.
Have fun on your last episode. Bye.
Hello?
Janice, it's Blake from Couch Pilots Podcast. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm good. I'll miss hearing you guys. It's always a good time, good listen.
Hey, what's up?
It's your brother Jason. What are you doing?
Not a whole lot of you.
We're recording the last episode of Couch Pilots right now.
You guys should do like a huge blowout, go like paintballing and get some wings or something.
That's what you think a blowout is? We're doing coke off of whores.
Well, I don't know why you guys didn't fucking call me, so I'm pretty pissed now. Well, yeah, I had a fun time, and you guys keep kicking ass.
Hello?
Maid Marianne, it's Blake from Couch Pilots. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? And I appreciate you guys for bringing me the entertainment of failed TV pilots. I never thought that there was 400 failed TV pilots out there, but by golly, you guys found them. I love you guys too. You guys entertained me, and you're clear for landing for one final time. I'll miss you guys, and all your fans will too.
Jason.
Hey, it's your favorite nephew, Jason.
Yeah, well, thank you. I seriously listen every single week. I've listened for I bet I've heard at least 40% of the episodes. I really enjoy it, and I was, we're sad you guys are leaving, but I get it. 8 years is a lot. But I think, and by the way, you've had some very nice tribute to other people as you've been, having their last, during these last final groups of people and everything. You've been about the sincere moments that have been very moving, actually. So, yeah, thank you both for all your fine work, and I'll miss you.
Hello.
Hey there, baggage boy. How are you?
Been a while since we've talked last. I'm great.
Never mind.
Lori?
Yes.
This is Jason. Blake and I are recording the final episode of Couch Pilots.
Oh, I love you guys and I appreciate it. I'm so honored that I got to partake and to be a part of your guys' journey. And your guys' podcast was just awesome. And I enjoyed listening to you guys. I love you too, man. And thank you. It was an honor.
Hello.
DSJ, it's Blake from Couch Pilots.
Hi. Hey, DSJ JR, you want to come say hi? You don't want to say hi right now? Hey, here's DSJ JR. He said he wanted to say something to you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Never mind. He's in, he's on one tonight. What? The show's over? When were you guys gonna, who was gonna tell me? You're telling me that I gotta find a new job in like a month and a half? Hey, calling me saying, oh, this is happy news. Oh, you got great news for me. What? You guys have been real assholes. You know that? You did give me a calendar every year. It's going to be tough to say goodbye, but man, really, really thank you for those calendars. You're one of the smartest son of a bitches I ever met. Hey, I do not have Down syndrome. Okay?
What do you mean? Yeah, of course you do. That's why
DSJ.
DSJ.
I let you guys call me that for as long as I did. I let you guys start calling me DSJ again because you gave me the bag. But I'll tell you what. I do not have Down syndrome. It's been an honor to serve you and to become great friends with you, Blake, as well as Jason.
Hello, Jason.
Hey, Dad.
I have not heard all the shows. I remember the Couch Pilots. I grabbed a couple of those.
Yeah, we that's the one we're recording right now, and we said, you know what, 400 is a nice round number, and I think that's where we're going to leave it.
Well, I don't blame you.
That's a lot of episodes of a show.
That is a lot of episodes.
I love you, Dad. I'll talk to you soon.
I love you too, man. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Is Molly available?
Thanks for calling. I hope you guys find something else to do with your lives, and whether it be a new podcast or maybe take up surfing or flying, maybe charter planes. It's always been a great time. You guys are a hoot and a half.
Hello.
Hey, Mom. It's your. Am I the third favorite son?
Why do you say that? What happened?
We're recording the last episode of Couch Pilots right now.
Oh,
and
okay.
you're a very important part of the show. And I don't say that sarcastically. I know that you know that's true, and so we wanted to call you and just say thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet. I really enjoyed doing it when I was there. You guys are the best. You guys you do a great job, and it's just been a pleasure to work with you, even though I haven't done it that much. But I just love what you do and how you all care so much about each other, and you're just a good group of guys. Love all you guys.
8 years. How can you put up with Jason for that long? Best of luck in your next endeavors.
We love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye, Jason.
Hello?
Hey, Lorelai, this is your dad. What are you doing?
Nothing right now, just on the couch. Watching TV?
You're one of the very few people that I gave a heads up that I was doing this to, but we called a bunch of people. We're recording the last episode of Couch Pilots, and I just wanted to say thank you for being on the show when you would come on. I appreciate it very much.
No, of course. I've never done anything like that before. Like, I still haven't, like, that is one of the only podcasts I've been on or have, like, recorded something like that or been in an environment like that. That is the only time I've ever done it, and every time I have, it was fun.
I just wanted to tell you that I love you, and thank you so much for being a part of the show. I'm very proud of you, kids.
I love you, too.
Blake, you down here? Mom says it's time for dinner. Blake, you in here? Jason? Anyone? Huh. Looks like they left everything on. I wonder if they meant to do that. Hey, hold on a second. Finally. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Eli Show. We've got a lot to cover on this first episode, so let's get right to it.